Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to another video of ChemSolve. Today we are gonna solve Cambridge IGCSE Chemistry Paper 2. That is a multiple choice paper. The code for this paper is 0620/22 October-November 2025. In this video, we will solve part 2 of this paper, that is from question number 21 till 40. So let's start the paper. Okay, so question number 21 says, phosphorus is an element of group 5 of the periodic table. It burns in air to form the oxide that dissolve in water to form the solution of the pH of 1. Which row describes the oxide of the phosphorus? Okay, so clearly if something has a pH of 1, it means it is acidic. And phosphorus is a non-metal. And it is forming an oxide, so it would be a non-metallic oxide. Always remember that non-metallic oxides are acidic in nature, right? So would it be a metal oxide? Of course not. So this is wrong. We have to choose between C or D. Is it a non-metallic oxide? Yes, it is a non-metallic oxide. It is an acidic oxide. Yes, we just have discussed that it has a pH of 1, and also the non-metallic oxide are the acidic oxides. So this is also correct, and which says that this is wrong. Obviously, it is not our option. Okay, this option also says that it is an acidic oxide. Now look at basic oxide. Of course, it's not an basic oxide. So it's not a basic oxide. Now option C has all the ticks. So option C is the correct one. Now look at question number 22. The equation shows the reaction between hydrogen bromide and aqueous ammonia, and the equation for the reaction is also given to you. Which statement describes the role of the aqueous hydrogen bromide? Okay, just look at your equation. What is happening here? Basically, hydrogen is being donated by HBr to NH4. So it is losing H positive ion, or you can say it is donating H positive ion, right? So we can say it is a proton donor, and it is accepting this proton. So is it a catalyst? Of course not. It's a reducing agent? No. It's a proton acceptor? No. Basically, it's a proton donor because it is giving, it is donating its H positive ion, that is a proton. Question number 23. Which statement about the element in the group 1 is correct? Okay. Hydrogen is produced when group 1 element react with the water. Yes. All the group 1 metal, when they react with water, they produce their own hydroxide plus hydrogen gas. So of course this is a correct statement. Let's tick this, but let's look at the other option as well. So you know better that why this one is the correct one. Ions of the group 1 element have minus 1 charge. Instead, they have positive 1 charge. So this is wrong. Sodium is more reactive than potassium. So what's happened? Down the group, basically reactivity increases. So as we move down the group, reactivity increases. That's why potassium is more reactive than sodium. So this is also incorrect. Potassium is more reactive than sodium. Solid sodium is a poor conductor. Of course not, because it's a metal, and metal are the good conductor instead. So this is also wrong. Question number 24. Which row describe the color and the state of the iodine? Color and state at room temperature and pressure. Okay. So we know that as we move down in group 7, what happens? Certain things happen, and what are these? Color become darker. So we have to choose a darker color, right? And reactivity decreases. Fluorine being the most reactive and chlorine is least reactive. Moreover, fluorine and chlorine, they are the gases. Bromine is the liquid, while iodine is the solid. So we should choose solid here. That's why this would be the correct, this would be correct, and which says that it's a liquid, this would be incorrect. So what is the color? Of course, the color is gray black. This is the most darker color in the given option. So all of these are the wrong ones. That's why B is the correct option. Right? Question number 25. Part of the periodic table is shown which element is an inert gas. So we know better that inert gases are the elements of group 8. So this is hydrogen. These are transition element. This is group 6 and this is group 8. So we have to choose the element of the group 8. That's why C is the correct option here. Question number 26. 4 different metals are separately added to the water. The oxide of the each metal is separately heated with the carbon. Okay, the result are showing. So let's look at the result. What is this showing? Q has no reaction with water, then few bubbles, then rapid fizzing. Okay, I will look at the first column once, and I will decide that which 2 options would be the correct one. Okay, so let's see this. We have to arrange them in the order of least reactive first. So of course, least reactive would be the one that has no reaction with water. This is least. So I will place Q first. Then I can't decide between few bubbles things, because both S and T are producing the few bubbles. So both of them could be same. So I couldn't decide. And which is has the rapid fizzing, it means it would be most reactive. So clearly I have to choose an option that start with the Q and that ends with the R. It means C and D couldn't be my option. I have to choose between this. Now I have to choose whether T is more reactive or S is more reactive, right? So let's see. Look at the reaction with the carbon. Okay, S has no reaction with the carbon, while T formed the gray solid with the carbon. Carbon only react with those metal which are less reactive than carbon, so that carbon can displace them. So if something is basically reacting with carbon, it means it is less reactive. Carbon only react with those which are less reactive than carbon, so that carbon can easily displace them. So this completely changed the scenario. Now we have an idea that T is least reactive. Why? Because it is reacting with the carbon. It is forming some solid. So it means carbon has displaced T from its oxide. Okay? So that's why it would be less reactive, and which is doing no reaction with the carbon. It means carbon, it's more reactive than the carbon, and carbon cannot displace it. So it is most reactive. We have already decided that Q is most reactive. Now we have to decide between S and T. So T is less reactive and S is more reactive. Why? Because T is reacting with carbon, S is not reacting with carbon. And then comes R. So it leads us towards the correct option, that is A. Question number 27. An iron nail is fully covered with the zinc. Iron nail fully covered with the zinc to prevent it rusting. Which row describe the method of the protection and explain why zinc is used to protect the iron nail? Okay, let's see the chemistry behind this. So basically, what happens, for example, this is iron. Okay, suppose this is iron, Fe, and what we have done, we are putting a layer of zinc around this, like this. So this is zinc, zinc, zinc. So clearly you can see that it is a barrier method. It is a sacrificial protection method. And the barrier method, what does this mean? It makes a barrier around the iron. So C and D are not our options. We have to choose between A and B. And why do we do this? Why? Because zinc is more reactive than iron. So zinc sacrifices itself, zinc corrodes itself, zinc react with the air and the water instead of the iron. So zinc is basically more reactive than the iron, not iron is more reactive than the zinc. And you know zinc is above in the reactivity series, so it's more reactive than the iron. That leads to the correct option, that is A. Okay, now coming towards the question number 28. Iron is extracted from the hematite in the blast furnace. Which reaction increases the temperature in the blast furnace over 1500? Okay, so let's see. A is the thermal decomposition. That is always endothermic. So this will not increase the temperature. That's why A is not our option. Calcium oxide and silicon oxide. This is basically neutralization reaction. Neutralization reactions are the exothermic. So it could be the option carbon and oxygen. This is a kind of combustion. So it could also be exothermic. Carbon dioxide and carbon, which make the carbon monoxide. And this also is not our option. So we have to choose between B and C. So C is the correct option. Why? Because combustion is much more exothermic, because we need the temperature almost over 1500, and this is only possible in the case of C, not in the case of B. So for question number 28, the correct option is option C. Now move towards question number 29. Aluminium is extracted by the electrolysis of the purified bauxite. Which row shows the half equation at the electrode and explain why one of the electrode has been replaced regularly? Okay, so first look at our options for the electrode reactions. Okay, so what happens? You know, anode is itself positively charged. So negative ions move towards it. While option C and D says positive ion move towards it. So clearly this is not our option. Cathode is itself negatively charged. So positive ions move towards it. So that's why again C and D are not our option. We have to choose the options in which positive ion is moving towards the cathode, right? Okay, so what's happening here? Oxygen is formed at the anode and aluminium is forming at the cathode. So it's mean cathode is no need to replace because aluminium is deposited here. While at anode, oxygen is being formed, and as the electrode are made up of the carbon, so they react with the oxygen and they form carbon dioxide. That is a gas which escape from there, and gradually the electrode deplete, the electrode have to be replaced. That's why B is the correct option. Okay, question number 30. Which flow chart describes the correct treatment sequence of the domestic water supply? Again, it's a factual question. It's a fact-based question. So what's happened here? First of all, sedimentation is done. That's why the bigger particle are accumulated at the bottom. Then we do the filtration to remove the insoluble solid, and after that chlorination is being done so that the bacterial treatment can be done. Is there any microorganism present, then they can be moved. They can be removed. That's why D is the correct option for question number 30. Question number 31. Which statement about the oxide of the nitrogen is correct? Oxide of the nitrogen. Okay. Again, this is the fact-based question. We have done it many times in different questions. So they are accumulated in the core exhaust. And when we react them with carbon monoxide, they form carbon dioxide and also nitrogen gas. Okay, so the option which says that they are made in the car engine, that's wrong. Okay, they are removed from the core exhaust, yes, and they will form nitrogen and carbon dioxide, while this option says it forms nitrogen and sulfur dioxide, so it is wrong. It forms react with carbon monoxide. They react with the carbon monoxide, as you can see here. So D is the correct option. Question number 32. The alkenes are the homologous series. The statement about the members of the homologous series of the alkenes are correct. You know, alkenes have carbon-carbon double bond in between. So they have the same function group. Of course, they have, because all of them have the carbon-carbon double bond. They have the same relative molecular mass. No, every compound has a different molecular mass. So this is not correct. They have the different chemical properties. No, all the compounds or in the same homologous series have the same chemical properties, but they have the same general formula, and it says they have the different general formula. All the alkene have the general formula CnH2n. Okay, so clearly the option is A. That is the correct one. So let's move to question number 33. The diagram represents two processes X, Y, and their effect Z in increasing global warming. Okay, so X and Y are happening. There are some processes, and as a result, an effect is created. That is the Z. So we have to first look what are the processes X and Y. Okay, so before looking at the option, just see what is our understanding about this whole global warming and the greenhouse thing. So what happened? Absorption of energy take place, or you can say absorption of heat take place, and then emission of heat move to the earth, and what happened as a result of that? Less heat lost to the space, which increase heat on earth. This is the whole process. So let's see according to that. Okay, so option A says absorption of thermal energy, C says absorption of thermal energy, while B and D says emission of thermal energy. So clearly these are not our option. Then Y is the emission of the thermal energy, again emission of the thermal energy to the earth. Yes, this is correct. While this says emission of the thermal energy to the space. So these are wrong. So we have to choose between A and C till now. Look at Z. So what happened? Reduce thermal energy loss to the space. Yes. While C says increase thermal energy loss to the space. If this will happen, if there would be increased thermal energy loss to the space, it means the earth becomes cooler. While in global warming, the earth becomes heat up. So this is wrong. That's why the correct option for this question is option A. So the next question is question number 34. Which structures are the structural isomers of each other? So we know that isomers have same molecular formula and different structural formula. Okay, so there are 4 carbons here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hydrogens. So this is C4H10. This is also C4H10. This is also C4H10, and this is also C4H10. So right now we cannot decide. Now we have to look at the structure. This is a state chain. Okay, this is also state chain. You can see I do not have to move the pen. So this is a state chain. Again, this is also the state chain. chain didn't break, right? And this is not straight chain because in order to touch the fourth carbon, I have to pick up the pen. Okay, I cannot touch all the carbon with the same pen. So that's why only 1 and 3, they are the structural isomers. Basically, 1, 2 and 4, they are same. Third is different, right? And there is no other option which combine 2 with 3 or 4 with 3. That's why C is the correct one. Question number 35. The structure of an ester is shown. You know, ester has this function group. This function group is called ester. Okay, so what is the name for this ester? Name. So we have discussed it many times. Let's do it. What happens? We have to keep all the carbon that are directly connected with the oxygen, right? So this would be my first. Okay, and what about second? This would be my second thing. We have to break this whole ester into two parts in such a way that all the oxygen move with the same side, right? Then this part, it is from the alcohol and it has only one carbon. So this is methane. What we do, we basically cut this E, and not only E, we will cut the whole in and will add oil. So this is methyl. We will name it first. And then these are 3 carbon and this is from carboxylic acid. So 3 carbon are called propane. We will cut this E at the end and we will add O8, and this is the second thing. So the name would be methyl propanoate. So the correct option for this question is option D. Question number 36. Which row shows the product obtained by the cracking of the larger alkane? Okay, so when a larger alkane is broken down, it produces smaller alkane plus smaller alkene. Okay, this is the first case, and in the second case, larger alkane is broken down, it produces a mixture of smaller alkene and hydrogen, and these are the only products obtained as a result of cracking. So Alkane is produced, yes. The option says alkene is not produced, it is incorrect. Hydrogen is produced, yes. Which says oh, hydrogen is not produced, this is correct. Water is produced, you can see no water is being produced here. So water is not produced. That's why B is the correct option because it has all the ticks. Question number 37. So ethanol is produced by the fermentation of the aqueous glucose or by the catalytic addition of the steam to the ethene. What are the advantages and disadvantages of these two processes? Okay, what happens in fermentation? During fermentation, we take glucose C6H12O6 and it produces carbon dioxide and also ethanol like this. It is anaerobic respiration of the yeast and it is a basically slow process. While in catalytic addition of the steam, what happens? We take ethene, we add water, catalyst is H3PO4 and temperature is almost 350 degrees Celsius, pressure is 60 atm, and what happens? Ethanol is produced like this, right? So it's a fast reaction. Okay. It says this is fast reaction. Not at all. Not at all. Renewable raw material, yes. Because glucose is the raw material, that is a renewable source. Okay. Ethanol produces continuously. If ethanol produces continuously, this is the advantage, not a disadvantage. It's a slow reaction, yes. We just have discussed it's a slow reaction. And then ethanol produces in batches, yes. And then dilute aqueous ethanol is formed, yes. Almost pure ethanol is formed. This is the advantage, yes. Fast reaction, yes. Almost pure ethanol is formed, yes. Fast reaction, yes. Okay, so we have to choose basically between C or D, right? Renewable raw material. Raw material is water and ethene. They are not the renewable raw material. So this is wrong. Slow reaction, wrong. This is correct. Non-renewable raw material, yes. So clearly D is our option because it has all the ticks. Okay, question number 38. Propanoic acid is an organic compound that is both an alkene and a carboxylic acid. Okay, it has alkene function group as well as it has carboxylic acid function group. Let's see. This is alkene and this is carboxylic acid, right? Which structure represent one repeat unit of the addition polymer formed? So let's see. Let me make it here. We just have to look at this point of unsaturation and we make it single bond, right? Whatever is written on the side, just write it above or below where you get some space. So this would be my repeating unit. Now match it with the option. So clearly you can see it matches exactly with the option B. That's why B is the correct option. Which item of the apparatus is used to measure 13.7 of the dilute hydrochloric acid? So, this would be burette. Why? Because till 0.5 centimeter accuracy, we use burette. Balance is used for mass, not for the liquid. Volumetric pipette is for the exact volume, like 25 centimeters cube. Conical flask is not a good option here. So burette is the correct option. Chromatography is used to separate and analyze the mixture of the soluble substances. The first step of the process are listed. Apply sample to the baseline, develop the chromatogram in the solvent. What is the next step to proceed in the process to detect the soluble colorless substances? If something is colorless, then we use locating agent. Locating agent impart color to the colorless spots, and we are able to see them and can measure their RF value later on. So clearly, the correct option would be option D, right? Now this paper has been ended. Thank you so much for watching. Allah Hafiz.